First things first, we're at a login page, and the website here is TransactionDesk.com/login. I'll have a bunch of websites and email addresses and links for you here at the end of the session. We'll re-up that audio message and show you some of those. But this alternative login page, if you will, TransactionDesk.com/login. I know mine says more InstanetForms, and when you go to the login page, this is where you'll come to. TransactionDesk.com/login. So when you want to log into your TransactionDesk account outside of your MLS account using the Google Chrome or using Safari browser. You want to come to this website. You can come to this website on any browser, TransactionDesk.com/login, and log into your TransactionDesk account. I'll click here on Login. I've already typed in my first and last and my password. You can see Remember Me options there as well, so you can save yourself from typing those in again. But a lot of MLSs, a lot of these other sites don't support Google Chrome or Safari browser, so that's how you can log in. You will want to log into your TransactionDesk account at least one time through those other means, through that single sign-on in your MLS or through your association site. Log in through that MLS account or that association account first, have your account set up with all of your content. Then you can subsequently use that TransactionDesk.com/login page to access from a bookmark on Safari or Google Chrome. And if you're familiar at all with TransactionDesk, you'll see that it really doesn't look much different. Part of my mouse for a second as I collapse that go-to training sidebar. If it is taking up the better part of the right-hand side of your screen, that red block with a white arrow, it's in the right-hand column of your screen, top right, that corner there, red block with white arrow will both collapse and expand that go-to training sidebar as we go through this webinar session. Two other sections you may be interested in: the chat section to type questions. We'll be reviewing those questions as we go through this demonstration, so please type questions as you have them. We'll be reviewing them, working them into the session, or answering them at the end. So please do type questions in that chat section of the go-to training sidebar. The other the materials page, that materials section. There's 4 pieces in there, a couple PDFs and a couple links to other content, but accessible right through that go-to training sidebar, the materials section. So that's the go-to training sidebar. That red block with white arrow expands and collapses it so that you can see the sidebar or more of the screen. Speaking of our screen here, we are just looking at the Home tab, if you will. Home tab, I'm in the top third, center screen, Home. That's just the view that we've come into to navigate. So very similar to any other browser, Internet Explorer, Firefox, and so forth. The differences that we'll see really are going to be found mostly in the Forms editor. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start looking at Forms edit mode and how that online typing up forms is different visually than it is with Internet Explorer or Firefox. So I'm going to go from here, from the Home tab. I'm in the second row of links. This is a TransactionDesk account. It includes InstanetForms, Forms Library. It includes Authentisign, digital signatures, as well as DocBox, Document Manager, and Faxing Solution. So all of our transaction management features are being displayed in this account. Clicking on the Transactions link, top third, shading to the right just a bit, Transactions. So we're going to look at transaction file, Forms editor to get the sense of those features and differences. As you go through TransactionDesk, if you've used it before in Internet Explorer, Firefox, especially Internet Explorer, for the longest time Internet Explorer has been the dominant browser. All the way up to about 3 or 4 years ago, Internet Explorer had 80% of all browsing was done on Internet Explorer. Over the last 3 to 4 years, Firefox has attained about 25% of that share, and now Google Chrome is about 25, or just about to surpass Firefox and so forth, moving up very quickly. So there are differences. We've been supporting Internet Explorer a lot longer than we have Chrome, but we do support Chrome, but there are some differences. One difference, if you're using Internet Explorer and you kind of hover your mouse on a lot of these little icons and bubbles, there will be a little instruction will pop up. In Internet Explorer browser, there's those types of little bubble pop-ups and features like that that you won't see in any of the other browsers. Even Firefox doesn't have that level of support. So little subtle differences I'll try to point out as we go through. This is our transaction page. Hopefully, if you've not created files before, this at least emphasizes that once you create a file, you can come back to it anytime. You can work with it, revise it, update it, take appropriate steps with that ongoing sale file. Couple features I always like to talk about in every webinar session just to make sure that everyone is keying in on these upside down triangles. I'm in the middle third of the page, clicking on that little upside down triangle to yield these menus. And every time that you see the phrase, I would like to, you're going to have access to that menu, that drop-down menu of features and choices. So we are on the functional page of our transactions, showing us all the transaction files that we've generated in our account. Within that functional page, we have choices. What would I like to do? Would I like to create a new file? Would I like to import data into a file? Would I like to update the status of that file? We have these options and choices, and we'll try to point them out as we go through. I think it's just a very essential feature within TransactionDesk, so just try to point those out. But we are going to click on a file name. Let's just do the buyer prospect Jack Jackson. We're going to click on that file name to re-access. Like I said, as we go through this demonstration, if you'd like to see how to start a new file or things like that, please let me know. We can try to work that in. But otherwise, just going to show the subtleties of Chrome browser within an existing file. First thing that we want to look at is, and again, it is the probably largest difference with the Google Chrome browser and Safari browsers is Forms Editor. So we are in the transaction overview page on the left-hand side of the screen, kind of middle third of the page, left-hand side. All these red bullet points, usually referred to as the dashboard, and I typically do work from the dashboard. So red bullet point, InstanetForms, clicking there to access the forms that we've added to our transaction file. If you're going to type up your forms using Safari or Google Chrome, this is what it's going to look like. These are the forms that we've added so far to this file. Just as always a reminder in the show, I would like to. There's that phrase. There's that drop-down menu of features that are available within TransactionDesk. What would we like to do? The functional page of forms in our Jack Jackson transaction file. We're in the forms page. We can auto-populate our forms with transaction file details, dates, contact information, property address, things like that. We can copy forms. We can delete forms, email or fax them outbound, prepare them for digital signatures using Authentisign. We can print them to paper. So lots of options. Once you have typed up an online form, you have lots of options of what you would like to do with that form. You can add new forms to this transaction. So let's look at that, just one of them. Clicking on the form name, buyer broker service agreement here, clicking on the form, launch the form in Forms Editor. And not to get too geeky here, between Safari, Chrome browsers, and Internet Explorer and Firefox, at the basis level, the biggest difference is how they render or support PDF documents. Internet Explorer and Firefox support Adobe Reader and Adobe supported PDF viewers. Adobe Acrobat Reader is supported by Internet Explorer and Firefox. That same reader plugin is not supported by the Google Chrome or Safari browsers. Those browsers, Google Chrome, Safari, have their own PDF viewer, and that causes some conflicts, or just differences, not conflicts, just differences in how we need to render those online forms to be completed. So pardon my mouse for a moment, so when using Google Chrome, we use what we call an HTML5 based forms editor. And the user interface, the UI, is just a little bit different than it is when you're using Internet Explorer or Firefox, which supports the Adobe Acrobat plugin, and those are Adobe Acrobat based forms when using Internet Explorer or Firefox. You folks are Chrome and Safari, you're going to use HTML5 based forms, and this is what they look like, and they remarkably look similar. Biggest difference is typically in the little drop downs at the top and in the top third of the page, just kind of sliding from right to left. Some features in here, and just the look is different between the different browsers. Functionally, they are about identical. There are some features that are available in HTML5 that are not available in Adobe, and there are some features in Adobe that are not available in HTML5. So that's the difference that we're talking about now. But once you've typed up forms, certainly can save the changes you make to your online forms. You can create new versions of this form right from the drop-down menus. I'm in the top left corner there. This is the File drop-down menu. We can make and edit copies of this particular form. These are features not available in Adobe. This is a HTML5 specific feature. Make and edit copies for this form right on the fly. We could clear this entire form of all its contents. I think I'm going to steer clear of clear for this page or all pages of this online form. We could delete this form from our transaction file, print it to paper. Depending on the services that you have within your online account, you can email these forms outbound. DocBox feature allows you to fax them as well. So if you have DocBox associated with your account, you have those both emailing and faxing features outbound. If you have Authentisign, then these documents can be forwarded into Authentisign for digital signatures. And we can exit back out to our transaction file. But let's just look at it a little bit. Let's go across here quickly. Font, you can update the font style, color, and size for the fillable fields. When you are adjusting that style, color, and size, it is just for the fillable fields, those blue or gray fields that we see on our form there down by duration, agreement, and compensation, and those fillable fields. We can adjust the style, color, size. This is document specific. There are some settings. Maybe as we go through the demonstration, I can show you the settings where you can change that, a global change to your font style, but otherwise this is a form level update to the fillable fields. Clauses. You can generate clauses and then paste clauses into your online forms. If I had some, I could show you the clauses that I have, personal clauses as well as system clauses if your association has provided us any content. Personal clauses, it is available, it is pastable from your account or from your association to your forms and contracts. So nice opportunity there to generate some content. We do have webinars on how to set up that content to be accessible through Forms Editor to paste those clauses into your forms and contracts. Transaction Forms gives us access to each of the forms that we have added to our online transaction file. So we're currently looking at the buyer broker. We can access compensation, the uniform contract, whichever next form we want to access. We simply just click on that next form, open selected form. And it gives me that previous form we were working on would be saved. If we had not already manually saved them, the forms would make an auto save, and we can go to that next fillable form. Fillable fields are not too much different. These fields will auto-populate just from our transaction file information. Just make sure we're pointing that out. These are auto-populated forms. We populated these forms with our transaction file, the dates, the contacts, the buyers and sellers and brokers and agents and address and information like that. So that information, these are fillable fields. So first off, maybe starting top third and by that calendar. Again, difference with Google Chrome. I'm not going to get the little pop-up instruction that I would using Internet Explorer. When I have to know that this is a calendar icon. When I click on that calendar icon, it's going to pop up. You want to allow pop-ups from TransactionDesk. so that we can pop up these the calendars to choose the appropriate days, times, weeks, months, and so forth. So scrolling back and forth, calendar icon looks a little different in Chrome than it does in Internet Explorer, but that is a calendar icon that is meant to be able to select from calendar dates to add those to your forms and contracts. Otherwise, throw a little Austin at you here, do Travis. Anything that you can copy to your computer's clipboard, you can paste into fillable fields. So that is an option as well. Type and paste. The tab keys will take you from one fillable field to the next. Type to add, tab to next. Type and tab. I like to type the tab key on the keyboard. It is on your keyboard. Top third of the keyboard, left-hand corner tab will take you from one field to the next. Type and tab. All right, that's enough of that. Pasting, tabbing, these are features of the HTML5-based forms editor. Go through, complete all of the required and optional fields. Calendar icons, definitely want to begin recognizing these as calendar icons. Click on them to select appropriate days from the calendars, or type in them. They are fillable fields as well. If you prefer 2012, you can type that in. So add that content. Seller Sam Solar. Add the content. Save your changes. File drop down, top third, left-hand side. File, save. You can save a line form. InstanetForms after the first 5 minutes. And 5 minutes thereafter, InstanetForms will generate an autosave. If you go to leave, so now again, where we want to go, transaction forms. Clicking there, which form I've worked on, the compensation and the buyer broker estimated cost. This is a good one to go to as well because of the HTML5, this is the one current limitation, calculation fields. It is one feature that is available in the Adobe based, but not so much in the HTML5. Just does not support formulas, if you will, within these kind of calculation pages. So we do offer a calculator within TransactionDesk. There's a calculator. That's a mortgage calculator, but there you won't see any calculate buttons. You won't see any, sum buttons or things like that. So there's one limitation of the HTML5 within the in Chrome and Safari browsers for these types. These are fillable fields, but you would need to do manual calculation. So tab is available. Those features. The only feature that is not available is the calculation feature. Go through, complete all of your required forms, save your changes. That's the HTML forms editor. So it does look a little bit different, but otherwise, just keep going across here. Those are transaction forms. I'm not sure we spoke about. Here's the pages to be able to go from one page to page 2 to however many pages are in this. Apparently just 2 in this one, so we could go right down to page 2. Make sure we were jumping down there. Last drop-down menu there is help. Feedback. Always good to get feedback from our users. Help us develop our products in a positive and going forward kind of way. So feedback, information, form information, details and history about your online form when changes were made. Online help is more tutorial based. It is screenshots and Captivate videos and instructions on how to complete actions available online, tutorials. About our company, if you're interested, you can link over to InstanetForms as well. So that's the help feature. Once you have typed up your forms, again, from that file drop-down in the top third left-hand side, I'm going to exit back to our transaction file so that I just prefer to go back to the file. Now I can see the form typed up. I can decide which ones I want to deliver outbound in ways that I have available to me. So let's just see. We just typed up these three, and maybe those are the first three that you really would be delivering out when you get that new buyer client, right? You're trying to establish that agency, trying to maybe get pre-qualification letters, trying to start that MLS search for the type of property that they're interested in pursuing. These are the first couple that we want to get together and signed to establish. So I can select them here. I've selected the three, the check boxes there, just to make sure we're all recentered. We are in our Jack Jackson transaction file. I know because it tells me at the top, Jack Jackson buyer prospect. I'm in the forms section, the functional feature of forms within our transaction file, and I have the access to the I would like to drop-down menu. What would I like to do with these three forms? Again, auto-populate them from transaction file details, dates, property information, contacts. Auto-populate is a great feature within the transaction file. In this case, I'm one of three things. I think, or four things now, potentially. One, emailing them outbound. Well, first, maybe the first, we'll just talk about printing them. You can print them to a PDF. It essentially exports and merges those three typed up forms into a PDF document. So it exports your forms to a PDF document that you can print to paper, that you can attach to an outbound email from your personal email, you can save to your C drive or desktop. So you can print them to a PDF document, merges them together. You can print it to paper or email or save it to your offline locations. It kind of generates that exported PDF. You can email them outbound right from your account. Now here's the difference between printing them to PDF. You're exporting it out of your account. Emailing selected, that's highlighted right now, we are going to deliver them directly from our online transaction desk account. We will be sender in name only, right? We will be the sender, but it will be delivered from our online transaction desk, do not reply at transaction desk email account. So that is an option that we're going to select. I also want to talk about the faxing too. If you have that DocBox component, you can fax outbound. You can deliver your typed up forms outbound via fax. Internet faxing. You don't need to be within 1,000 miles of a fax to send an outbound fax using DocBox. Whether it's a typed up form or stored document, you can deliver them outbound right from your online account. We're going to email these selected forms. I'm selecting that action. We'll talk about a quick email, and then maybe just bump over to Authentisign. I can show you Authentisign. There's no differences in using Authentisign on Google Chrome if they're, as opposed to Firefox or browsers. So we can look at it just to take a peek if you've not seen it, but otherwise there's no differences that haven't been shown already. So here's the three forms that we've attached to this outbound email. We can put them in a different order. Again, it's either going to be an attachment, a PDF attachment, or a link to the online form. So we can choose. I do prefer the link to myself. PDF is okay. I don't mean this derogatively, but PDFs are just kind of dumb. You don't have any notification when your recipient gets that PDF document. It does not provide any type of feedback loop. If you send your forms outbound as a link, you are specifically sending a link to your online form. So when your recipient opens that email and clicks on the link, it links back to your online form. You get a notification that the link has been clicked and that the recipient has opened that form. Now that form can be read-only, so they can read it, review it, print it to paper, or you can allow them to make changes to it. You can give them fillable access to all the fillable fields on the form. So you can give them that level of access to the fillable fields. If that's the craziest thing you've ever heard, just send it as at read-only. They link to it, you're notified, they review it, they print it, they make take appropriate steps. So we're going to email it outbound. Last test, I'm testing these contacts. I'm going to click here. This is a business card, and if you have been saving contacts to your TransactionDesk account, you can insert them into your outbound sends. So if I click on Jack, it's going to populate his information from my contacts to my outbound email. That's what those little business cards are. And again, in Google Chrome, Safari, it's just not going to show you those little pop-up bubbles as it would in Internet Explorer, Firefox. I'm going to put here to please review and call with questions, something like that. Maybe the question is, why aren't we using digital signatures, which we will go to in a moment. But in these instances where they are reviewing them, printing them to paper, if you have the DocBox feature, you can also include fax-back cover sheets in the instances where your recipient is going to print out that page and want to fax it back to you. You can receive inbound faxes using these fax-back cover sheets. So I will include one of my outbound sends. I will be notified when the fax-back cover sheet is used to return the pages. I will get that notification via email, and I'll also get a PDF copy of the returned fax. So the fax will be directed to my online transaction file. Once it's received and saved in my file, it generates these notifications. The fax has been used, and here's a copy of the received pages. So there is opportunities with the DocBox for inbound faxing as well, receiving faxes directly to your file. I'm going to click here to send this outbound email. If you do have questions, please do just type them in. Raising the hand is okay, but typing those questions really is the best. Type those questions, chat section of the GoToTraining sidebar. I'll try to keep reviewing those as we go forward. We've sent those 3 forms outbound via email, but just so, not to go too far into it, but just so you know, it as part of TransactionDesk in forms, DocBox that we've referred to a few times, we also have Authentisign. So I'm just going to click here to show the internet is supported. You have, and all these features are available on one platform, supported by Chrome and Mac. You can generate Authentisign signings using Google Chrome and Safari browsers. And just click Create New Signing. And Authentisign can be used as a standalone. You can purchase Authentisign as just an individual account type, but it is also part of the TransactionDesk platform. It's integrated with the forms library, your transaction files, and so forth. So you can import your transaction to start signings, or you can create a blank and just upload documents that you have saved on your C drive or USB thumb drive. Those documents can be uploaded into your signing. The only difference really between creating new and importing is being prompted with content. As we went through the few steps of Authentisign, we will be prompted with our transaction file content. And maybe I'll just quick pass, just show you how Authentisign preparation is supported by Google Chrome. In this case, Jack would just be the only signer. And we'll just add both here. Myself, and the agency agreements, I'm sure I'm signing those. So we are just, this would be a new Authentisign. We gave it a name. We're importing from our transaction file. I've added myself and my client as a participant to the signing. I can add any participants manually. Anything that could be imported from my file can be manually added as well. The name can be manually added. The participants can be manually added. First name, middle initial, last, email addresses, what types of signer, reviewer, CC only. CC only they only get a copy of the final signed document. That's all they get. Lender, maybe a title officer, or someone you want to have, maybe the cooperating agent, someone who's just going to get an immediate copy of that final signed document. The reviewer actually participates in the signing event. They review the documents but have no initial or signature requirements. Maybe it's a managing broker or a witness or something like that. They review it, but they don't have any signature or initial requirements. The type, what type are they? Are they buyer? Are they seller? Are they agents or brokers? Features of that. So add what type of signer they are, the kind of what participant type they are in the transaction file. So import them from your transactions, add them manually, move forward to now add the forms, typed up form, upload documents into your signing. So we'll just stick with the same three that we had. We'll just choose the same three forms that we sent off as an email, showing the difference of setting it up as an online signing. We are going to import these three forms. Again, I'm importing from our transaction file that we've been working on. You can load documents from your offline storage. So if you've received an attachment to an email, or if you've scanned some paper to a file on your computer, you can upload those to your signings. So I'm going to click here to upload a file to the left, shading to the left there. We're going to add a file. Click on the plus sign to access that offline storage, that email account, or excuse me, my hard drive or my USB thumb drive, and I'll just choose that agency example. PDF, Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, they can all be uploaded. You can continue to add files. You can, I don't think there's a limit, but maybe let's just say 10, up to 10 at a time. So we want to upload. Remember, the more that you add at once, the longer it's going to take to upload. But I'm just going to choose the one PDF. But Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, types of image files, all these files formats are supported by Authentisign, so we can upload those, any document to our, I shouldn't say any, but any PDF, Word, Excel, image file, they can all be uploaded and converted to Authentisign documents. We can select from the forms in our forms library. We can select from documents that we have saved online for state-required retention. Whatever we need to have saved, we can save to our online, to the cloud, web-based features. Just before we go to the next step of the preparation, just want to point out that with this account, we have some system templates. Authentisign signing templates are going to be applied. I'm going to click here on Next. As we implement Authentisign at client levels, association and state, we're trying to provide Authentisign templates. If you have Authentisign and do not benefit from the signing templates, please do let us know, and we will try to work with your association or state to get those set up for your benefit. So please let us know about those signing templates, because what they will do, as we'll see here in just another moment or two, they will place signature and initials in required places on these forms and contracts. So thumbnails, we do have 10 pages to this signing here on the left thumbnail. It doesn't mean every 10 page needs a signature and initial, but all 10 pages are presented there. Left-hand column of thumbnails. Navigation tools to zoom in, zoom out. I prefer the fit width there to kind of bring that in. Drawing tools, there are tools to make little micro adjustments to your Authentisign forms. So if you wanted to, I like the line drawing tool to create that line annotation. If I want to do a little strike over. The text tool here, if I want to add a little text box to stamp in maybe an update or a change or something like that. So the line draw for strike over or redaction, the template there. And this is what I've been talking about too. You can see Authentisign supports it. That little pop-up. In TransactionDesk, we didn't see those little pop-ups where it says create text annotations. When I hover my mouse on these features, little pop-ups occur. So unfortunately, within TransactionDesk and ChromeBrowser, it doesn't allow for those yet. But where do I require? Anywhere I would require an ink signature on a paper page, I want to go place a digital signature or initial on that digital page. So let me go to page 2, thumbnail, go to that second page. Here's the value of the signing templates pre-placed by that Authentisign integration with the InstanetForms program. So that's how we benefit from these. Otherwise, you drag and drop. Jack, I'm in the top third right-hand side. Jack Jackson is a highlighted signing party. He's highlighted, so any signature or initial that I click and hold to drag and drop onto the page would be for Jack. If I needed one for the additional signing party, myself, I highlight myself or that next signing party, do the same, click and hold to drag and drop. One thing I should also mention just about Authentisign in general, every one of these signing blocks has what we call a right-click menu. That's right, we're going to cover that often underutilized right mouse button when you're using a PC. There are 2 buttons on your mouse. Believe it or not, now you may know why. So because as I move my mouse, you can kind of see it's a hand right now, as I hover over that signing block, it changes to a crosshair. And I can use that right mouse button to yield an additional menu. To remove that block, if I've misplaced or drugged the wrong party there, I can remove that block. I can add a date stamp. I can move that little sign here to the side or below. And that sign here will only be there until the participant to the signing, after they've agreed to this, participate in the signing and gotten into the documents. Once they click to accept that block, the sign here goes away. So functionally here on this page, I think deleting it is a good something to know how to do. Let me just go away from it again, but right-click any of these. I'm going down to the Greg MLS. If I right mouse click on that, I can remove it. I can add the date stamp or a full name block. So some features. Let me just add the date stamp now. So it appears that I might want to put that right there, so that when you click to accept the signature block, the date stamp is also applied. The block captures all that content. This is merely for visual or for it to be stamped on that page. Looks like the buyer could use it as well. Right mouse click, add date stamp, apply it. Authentisign, go through, plot anywhere you would require an ink signature or initial on a paper page, adds a digital signature or initial on the digital page. We offer full 45-minute sessions to go through the process of the signing, but for today, for now, for the time we have, clicking on Next, plot your initials and signatures. Your signing participants, once we finalize and send, your signing participants will receive an invitation to participate in the online signing. They will agree. They open that email. They agree to participate. They accept a terms of service. They create a small profile for themselves with a password and a font style, a signature style. They select from a 6 or 7 different font styles to generate their signature style. They go through and click to accept the placed blocks to execute those forms and contracts. So Authentisign emails, as we click here to finalize the send, just before we do, left-hand side, middle third, we can go back to any step, the name, the signing participants, the documents that we uploaded or the forms that we imported, the plotted blocks of signatures and initials. We can go back to any of those steps. We can even customize the outbound email message being sent to our signing participant. We can customize that subject line. We can add a message. We can customize the body and subject of the outbound email for any of the signing parties. Once we feel it's complete, we click on Final. Because at this point, again, allow for pop-ups. Make sure Safari or Google Chrome, you're allowing pop-ups from TransactionDesk and Authentisign, as these pop-ups are meant to notify you that, yes, you are completing the sign. When I finalize and send here, documents are going to be locked down. The invitations are going to be sent to that first signing participant. The signing process is now underway. We'll be able to follow that signing process through Authentisign to go back, to resend email invitations, to view the status, see where we are in that signing process. So Authentisign for digital signatures. As every party signs, the creator, I'm notified by email as we go through that process. Documents are created. Let me just click on the prospect one there, just a practice test, just so you can kind of see as they go through the signing process. Authenticated means yes, the participant agreed to participate. They generated a unique password for themselves and chose a font style to represent their signature. They authenticated. Then they went through and actually clicked to accept the signature blocks that we placed, the initial blocks that we placed. So they went. That once they completed, it was sent to the next signing participant, where it's waiting now for them to go through and authenticate. As each person goes through, you'll get signing revisions all the way through that final document. So the process goes forward in that way. Once it's complete, final signed by all parties, executed, ratified, everybody receives a copy of that final document. You get a final document directed back to your online transaction file. That integration is set. When we import from a file, a final document is forwarded back to that online file. I'm going to click here on DocBox Chrome in the top right corner, going back to that account. Back to that transaction. Again, this is just the home tab. I'm going back to transactions in our Jack Jackson buyer prospect file. So we've just been going through the transaction process on Google Chrome. The big difference in the forms editors, we were on there typing up our forms. But as I mentioned, just to iterate here, if you hover on these little icons in Chrome, it just does not have those pop-ups. A few more minutes here. Just want to discuss, maybe one more minute, want to just discuss this I would like to menu from our transaction overview. Remember, this is the view where I'm the dashboard. I'm in the top red bullet point of the dashboard. The overview shows me all the content that I've added. The fax back cover sheet, so I can receive inbound faxes into my online account. I can also upload documents that I have saved. If I've scanned a file, if I'm not faxing as much anymore, but you're scanning to file on your computer, you can upload, just like we uploaded to Authentisign, you can upload to your transaction file, put your save your documents online in the cloud, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from any internet-enabled device. Any internet-enabled device, from a little handheld smartphone all the way to your custom desktop computer. So put them online. They're available 24/7 from any internet computer. I just wanted to discuss this. I would like to, because if you are accessing your accounts through the TransactionDesk.com login page, if you don't feel like you're benefiting from MLS import, this is where you can. This is where you can benefit from importing content from your MLS into your transaction files. When you log in manually through the TransactionDesk.com/login page, you can still import data into your transaction files. You can take opportunities to pull from MLS, pull from parcel, tax record if you have those integrations. Just about everybody has the MLS integration to pull from active, pending, sold, expired, withdrawn, listing, MLS listings. Some of you may also have that RealList or IMAP integration for public record. Not as common, but certainly out there and available. But I just want you to know that from your transaction file, you can reach into your MLS and pull out data for properties in that MLS information: property address, city, state, zip, legal description. So that content can populate your forms and contracts. When you work in transaction files, you can import that MLS content into your transaction. Nice thing about it as well, if we make this first offer for Jack and it falls through, I can re-import a new property into my same file. I can continue to import data for these identified properties as we make offer. So hopefully we won't have more than one or two, maybe three on the outside, but from your transaction file, Jack Jackson file, from the transaction overview there, and it is that phrase again, I would like to recognize these phrases, expand these drop-down menus, import data into your existing file. So with that said, I want to be very mindful of everybody's time. I do want to re-raise this audio message. I'm going to scroll down here just to speak to a few of those websites I was speaking to. TransactionDesk.com/login. That is that kind of generic login page to access your account if you need to access it directly, if you will, using the Google Chrome or Safari browser if they're not supported by your MLS or association sign-on links. Go to TransactionDesk.com/login. There's a password retrieval tool on that login. There's also a password retrieval tool within your TransactionDesk account. Let me show you that real quickly as I think this through. We minimize that from our transaction file. We click on the Home tab. And we want to go to Settings. Just want to show you where it is. Just clicking on Settings tab from the Home view, Settings tab, top third of the page, left-hand side, My Preferences. Clicking on My Preferences, Continue, User Information, so you know what email address is on file. You also have that password management, so you can request that password to log in through the TransactionDesk.com/login. If you know the email that's on your account already, when you go to the login page, you can just retrieve it and have a copy sent to that email. But otherwise, go to the Settings, My Preferences, and have it sent to you so you can manage it. Under the password management, you can actually generate whatever password you would like. Once you know what the TransactionDesk password is, you can make it whatever you'd like it to be so that you can use the TransactionDesk.com/login page. Additional recorded content, anything from a 1 to 3 minute little how do I tutorial, maybe a 5-minute tutorial on DocBox to go, how you can access from any smartphone and log in and access through that way. YouTube.com/InstanetWebinars. We have about 85 or 86 videos available there. Anything from that 1 to 3 minute to all the way up to a 60-minute overview session. So if you're intrigued by any of the services that we spoke about today, sales and support can both be found at 800-668-8768, available from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So give us a call and let us know how we can support you, or if you're interested in DocBox or Authentisign features for your account. If you have questions, webinars at InstanetSolutions.com. Questions, comments, general observations, really any way that we can best support you implementing TransactionDesk and the features that you value. If you'd like a free webinar for your team or office, tungle.me/webinar, Greg. Submit days and times that would be convenient for the time that you have available and the content that you would like to cover. They're interactive, so we can talk, ask questions, and really discuss how to best implement TransactionDesk, InstanetForms, Authentisign, DocBox into your business practice. So please let us know how we can best assist, and until webinar again, I hope that you have a tremendous day.